Son Goku. In the world of Naruto, the concept of divine figures is rarely mentioned outright, but it manifests in symbolic forms. One of the earliest examples is Enma, the personal summon of the Third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi. Enma appears as a giant monkey, reminiscent of Sun Wukong, the Monkey King from the Chinese epic Journey to the West. This connection is not accidental. Enma carries the same mythical qualities: wisdom, power, and transformation. His ability to turn into the Nyoi-bo, or Adamantine Staff, is directly inspired by the Ruyi Jingu Bang, the weapon used by Sun Wukong. Enma doesn't just act as a summon, he becomes an extension of Hiruzen's strategy and willpower. The Nyoi-bo transformation allows Enma to expand, shrink, and strike with tremendous force, giving Hiruzen both offense and defense in one seamless motion. This ability was critical during the battle against Orochimaru, especially when the Third Hokage had to face the reanimated First and Second Hokage. The coordination between Hiruzen and Enma revealed more than raw power. It demonstrated the kind of trust and tactical synergy only achievable through years of experience and disciplined training. On a cultural level, Enma mirrors the deeper traits of Sun Wukong's spiritual journey. In East Asian Buddhism, the Monkey King eventually becomes a Buddha after overcoming his ego and chaos. In Japanese Buddhist and Shinto beliefs, monkeys are sacred messengers, creatures that embody intelligence and boundary-breaking energy. Within this spiritual framework, Enma's appearance functions as a guardian figure. He is both fierce and enlightened, embodying both warrior instinct and moral balance. This relationship also adds depth to Hiruzen's character. He stands not only as a powerful shinobi, but also as a symbol of balance between tradition and strength. His choice of summon speaks volumes about his values: strategic foresight, spiritual discipline, and a commitment to the protection of the village. Enma is more than a tool. He is the physical representation of the Third Hokage's ideals in battle. Nirvana Punch and Thousand-Armed Cannon Hashirama. Senju's Buddha technique is one of the most visually overwhelming jutsu ever seen in the series. Known as True Several Thousand Hands, or Nirvana Punch, it manifests a massive thousand-armed Buddha statue capable of dwarfing mountains. Each hand can strike with monumental force, and together they form a barrage powerful enough to destroy a complete Susanoo and pin down a tailed beast. Asuma Sarutobi's version, though far smaller and unnamed, follows the same motif, an attack formed by the imagery of a many-armed divine figure. He used this attack in his fatal battle against Haiden of the Akatsuki, while Hashirama's technique was built for overwhelming power and large-scale combat. Asuma's felt more like a final stand. In both cases, however, the inspiration behind the technique draws from the Thousand-Armed Cannon, or Senju Cannon, a form of Avalokiteshvara, the Bodhisattva of compassion. The many arms and eyes of this figure represent the ability to see and reach all beings in suffering. The statue itself is a symbol of divine intervention, appearing when the world needs protection. In Japanese Buddhist tradition, Cannon is not a destroyer, but a guardian. This dual nature of compassion and power is what makes the technique more than just an attack. In Hashirama's hands, it becomes a defense of the world. He used it in his fight with Madara Uchiha, symbolizing a clash not just of power, but of philosophy. Hashirama sought peace through unity. The Buddha statue, overwhelming in size, stood as a literal and symbolic shield between destruction and survival. Asuma's case reflects a different layer of meaning. His final attack embodies the self-sacrificial side of compassion. He uses it knowing the cost, not for victory, but to buy time and protect his comrades. The arms of the statue may be fewer, but the spirit remains. It emphasizes the idea that divine power, when wielded with clarity and selflessness, becomes a tool for redemption. These contrasting uses show how the same divine symbol adapts depending on the user's purpose and values. Hashirama wielded godlike strength to establish a peaceful world, while Asuma, in his final moment, echoed the same divine archetype to demonstrate resolve and sacrifice. Both moments tie back to the broader religious imagery and make these statues more than just jutsu. They become reflections of character, philosophy, and the spiritual backbone of the Naruto world. Sage Mode and Dharma Wheel. Sage Mode is one of the most iconic power systems in Naruto, introduced as a result of deep spiritual discipline. It blends the user's chakra with natural energy, creating a form that is both balanced and immensely powerful. Naruto mastered this technique at Mount Myoboku, allowing him to enhance his strength, speed, and sensory abilities far beyond normal shinobi limits. The foundation of Sage Mode reflects Buddhist concepts of enlightenment, achieved by harmonizing the self with the world around. This harmony is challenged in Boruto through the introduction of Ishiki Otsutsuki. His left eye, adorned with a unique pattern resembling an 8-spoked wheel, draws strong visual parallels to the Dharma wheel, symbolic of the eightfold path in Buddhism. This path includes right view, right intention, right speech, and so on. It represents a complete spiritual discipline aimed at overcoming desire and achieving liberation. However, Ishiki distorts this symbol. Instead of following a path to peace, he uses it to dominate and destroy. His abilities include size manipulation and spatial control, granting him near-divine superiority. The contrast between Naruto's Sage Mode and Ishiki's eye is more than visual. Sage Mode stands for unity with nature and discipline. Ishiki's wheel represents a corrupted form of enlightenment, one that serves destruction rather than wisdom. In Japanese temple architecture, the Dharma wheel often appears on walls and altars, reminding followers of the path to spiritual freedom. Ishiki turns this spiritual icon into a weapon, redefining it as a tool of absolute power. Within the storyline, this contrast highlights the philosophical clash between Naruto and the Otsutsuki clan. Sage Mode becomes a foundation for Naruto's strength as a protector. Meanwhile, Ishiki's eye becomes a symbol of what happens when divine concepts are stripped of meaning and used for conquest. This dynamic adds another layer of depth to the battle between humanity and the godlike invaders. Evil God Jashin. Among the many mysteries in the Naruto universe, the cult of Jashin stands out as one of the most obscure and disturbing. Haiden, a member of the Akatsuki, is the only known follower. His rituals involve self-inflicted wounds and blood sacrifices that allow him to share damage with his opponents, effectively rendering him immortal as long as the ritual is active. The source of this ability is linked to the worship of Jashin, a god who demands constant killing and devotion through death. The nature of Jashin is left intentionally vague. There is no confirmation whether this deity truly exists or if Haiden's power comes from an undisclosed scientific method. Still, the presentation of Jashin closely aligns with ancient sacrificial religions found across different cultures. The use of blood and ritual circles evokes primal traditions, where gods were believed to require offerings to grant power. In Japanese Shinto beliefs, Jashin might resemble a dark kami, or vengeful spirit, beings that exist outside the harmonious balance of life and death. Jashin's role in the narrative is not expansive, but its impact is unique. It introduces a form of faith-based power that contrasts sharply with chakra-based techniques. The horror of Haiden's immortality doesn't come from brute strength, but from his complete submission to a doctrine of destruction. This makes him stand out among the Akatsuki. He cannot be reasoned with or deterred by pain. He kills not for strategy, but for religious fulfillment. Thematically, Jashinism explores the danger of blind belief. Whether divine or fabricated, the faith grants Haiden a power that breaks natural laws. It suggests that belief systems, when twisted toward violence, can become more dangerous than any jutsu. In doing so, the story frames Haiden as a living embodiment of chaos, guided by a god whose presence remains in the shadows. Shinigami death takes center stage when the Uzumaki clan calls upon the Shinigami through the dead demon-consuming seal. The wielder forms a contract that summons a towering spirit draped in prayer beads and brandishing a ritual knife. The Shinigami grips the soul of both caster and target, then devours them in one motion. Once swallowed, neither spirit can be restored by Edo Tensei. The price is absolute. The user's life ends the moment the seal closes. This risk framed Hiruzen's final battle against Orochimaru. By choosing the seal, he exchanged his future for the village's safety and trapped the first and second Hokage beyond resurrection. The image draws from Japanese folklore, where Shinigami guide the dead rather than punish them. Their neutrality makes them enforcers of balance, not evil entities. The prayer beads echo Buddhist funerary rites, while the blade resembles the ritual Tanto used in Shinto ceremonies. The Uzumaki link hints at an ancient pact. Their longevity and sealing mastery suggest generations spent refining bargaining rights with otherworldly forces. Narratively, the Shinigami highlights sacrifice as a path to protection. Hiruzen's choice sets a standard for later leaders, showing that true authority demands the courage to pay the ultimate cost. The seal also underscores the Uzumaki legacy, reminding viewers that their lost homeland once held secrets capable of binding even death itself. King of Hell. If the Shinigami enforces neutrality, the King of Hell delivers judgment. Nagato channels this entity through the Naraka path of the Rinnegan. A demonic head rises from the ground, its throat ringed with flames. Victims are seized, their tongues stretched toward the light of truth. Lies snap the tongue, ending the life linked to it. The same mouth can also restore fallen allies, reversing fatal wounds. During the assault on Konoha, Nagato revived every civilian he had killed, showcasing both sides of karmic authority. The King of Hell mirrors Enma, ruler of the Buddhist underworld. In Japanese temples, his statues hold court over ledgers of sin, reinforcing the principle that deeds bind fate. The Naraka path visualizes this concept through immediate consequence. Honesty grants mercy, deceit earns destruction. Within the plot, the King of Hell reinforces Nagato's philosophy that pain forces understanding. His power to kill or resurrect feeds his conviction that he alone may decide who deserves a second chance. It also broadcasts the Rinnegan's reach. Life, death, and judgment converge in a single glance, setting the stage for later Rinnegan wielders to challenge cosmic order. Hagoromo. Long before modern villages, Hagoromo emerged as the first shinobi teacher. Born with chakra from Kaguya, he mastered all elemental releases plus yin-yang transformation. Together with his brother, he subdued the 10 tails, then divided its chakra into the 9-tailed beasts. He healed the sick, spread ninshu, and preached peace built on shared understanding. These acts frame him as both founder and guardian of shinobi history. Culturally, Hagoromo blends Buddhist enlightenment with Shinto creation myths. Like a Buddha, he reaches awakening and guides followers toward balance. Like Izanagi, he shapes the world, turning raw chakra into diverse life. His Magatama necklace and floating Gudodama orbs resemble ritual prayer beads and cosmic spheres found in Japanese iconography, reinforcing his liminal status between mortal and divine. Story-wise, Hagoromo links past and present. His blessing unlocks Naruto's six-path Sage Mode and Sasuke's Rinnegan, enabling them to counter Madara's infinite Tsukuyomi. His appearance as a spirit reminds viewers that ideals can outlive bodies. Hagoromo's legacy acts as a moral compass. Power must serve harmony, or the cycle of conflict will restart. Shibai Otsutsuki Boruto expands the scale again with Shibai, an Otsutsuki who transcended physical form after millennia of chakra evolution. Legends claim he abandoned a body, yet still manifests storms, lightning, and raw elemental force through Shinjutsu. Techniques that bypass hand seals and shape reality with a thought. His presence is felt only in echoes. Ishiki cites Shibai as proof that consuming planet after planet leads to godhood. Shibai's image parallels Supreme Kami like Amaterasu, sovereign of the heavens. Surrounded by a corona of chakra, he mirrors myths of deities wielding natural phenomena as effortless extensions of will. Japanese tales warn that such absolute freedom invites hubris, and Boruto hints at that danger. If Shibai returns, his indifference could erase worlds without malice. Power beyond empathy. For the narrative, Shibai raises the ceiling of possibility. He turns the Otsutsuki threat from conquerors into potential cosmic annihilators. His legend forces heroes to question whether limitless power inevitably discards morality. By setting an unseen figure at the hierarchy's summit, the series plants a final challenge. Defeating enemies is one goal, preventing oneself from becoming the next Shibai is another. Amaterasu and Kagutsuchi. Among the most iconic Mangekyo Sharingan techniques, Amaterasu stands out for its terrifying permanence. It produces black flames that consume anything in their path until nothing remains. These flames are said to burn as long as the target exists, unaffected by water, wind, or even time. Itachi first used Amaterasu against Jiraiya's defenses, later passing it on to Sasuke. But Sasuke developed an evolution of the technique, Kagutsuchi. Unlike Amaterasu, which simply ignites targets, Kagutsuchi allows control and reshaping of the black flames, letting Sasuke form them into projectiles, shields, or piercing weapons. Both techniques draw from Shinto mythology. Amaterasu is the sun goddess, origin of light and life, and revered as the divine ancestor of the Japanese imperial family. Kagutsuchi, her brother and the god of fire, was born in flames so intense they killed his mother, Izanami. His myth centers on destruction and rebirth through fire, making him a symbol of both cleansing and chaos. In Naruto, the duality between Amaterasu and Kagutsuchi mirrors the Uchiha clan's inner conflict. Amaterasu represents divine judgment, an unrelenting force, while Kagutsuchi shows manipulation and control. Sasuke's mastery over both embodies his journey through pain and vengeance, shaping raw hatred into calculated violence. Together, the techniques symbolize the clan's destructive brilliance and the fine line between divine light and catastrophic fire. Their presence in battle defines the Uchiha legacy, overwhelming power balanced by the risk of losing control. Tsukuyomi is an advanced genjutsu linked to the Mangekyo Sharingan, most famously used by Itachi Uchiha. With a single glance, he pulls his target into a mental world where time is warped. Within seconds, the victim experiences days, even years, of psychological torture. This manipulation bypasses physical resistance, overwhelming the mind entirely. The technique is named after Tsukuyomi no Mikoto, the Shinto moon god, and brother of Amaterasu. While Amaterasu governs light, Tsukuyomi rules over shadow and reflection. In Japanese culture, the moon symbolizes introspection, illusion, and the subconscious. Tsukuyomi as a jutsu channels these ideas into pure psychological dominance. In the story, Tsukuyomi reveals Itachi's strategic precision. He doesn't rely on brute strength, but instead uses illusions to control outcomes. The ability to fracture a mind in an instant adds to his mythos as a cold and calculating shinobi. More than power, it reflects intellect, using illusion to dominate without lifting a hand. Susanoo is the final manifestation of the Mangekyo Sharingan's power. When both eyes awaken their ultimate form, the user gains access to a towering avatar of chakra. This warrior-shaped construct surrounds the user with an indestructible defense and wields divine weapons. Madara, Itachi, and Sasuke each summon different forms, but all versions combine protection with deadly offense. At full strength, Susanoo rivals tailed beasts in size and destructive force. Its name comes from Susanoo no Mikoto, the Shinto storm god. Known for slaying the eight-headed serpent Yamata no Orochi, Susanoo is both chaotic and heroic. He represents violent power tempered by purpose. In Naruto, this symbolism appears in the giant's dual nature. It defends the user, but often emerges in battles of massive destruction. Susanoo serves as the peak of Uchiha battle potential. Its presence signals a shift in combat. Once activated, the battlefield changes entirely. For characters like Sasuke and Madara, it becomes their symbol of authority, control, and legacy. The form is more than a technique, it's a myth turned into chakra. Izanagi and Izanami. Izanagi and Izanami are two of the most conceptually rich techniques in the Uchiha arsenal. Named after the primordial gods of Shinto creation mythology, these Mangekyo Sharingan abilities reflect opposing forces: life and death, action and consequence. Izanagi, used by Danzo and some rogue Uchiha, allows the user to reject death for a brief time by rewriting reality. A mortal wound becomes an illusion. However, using it costs the sight of the Sharingan used to activate it. It grants godlike power, but at an irreversible price. In contrast, Izanami functions not by altering the world, but by locking the target into a loop of repeating sensory experiences. It forces them to confront their choices until they accept their fate. Itachi used Izanami against Kabuto not to destroy him, but to make him acknowledge his path and change. The jutsu targets the mind, not the body, offering no escape until the truth is accepted. These abilities mirror the myth of Izanagi and Izanami in Japanese lore. After Izanami died giving birth to the fire god, she descended into the underworld. Izanagi attempted to retrieve her, but failed, leading to their permanent separation. Their story speaks to the balance between creation and loss, the necessity of accepting natural law. In Naruto, these themes emerge clearly. Izanagi is control without consequence, used by those who reject destiny. Izanami is acceptance through reflection, used to teach humility. Together, they express the Uchiha clan's philosophical complexity. Their power lies not only in combat, but also in the profound understanding of what it means to change, to lose, and to grow. These jutsu are not simply tools, they are reflections of inner conflict and the cost of denying reality. Top 8th, Nagato Uzumaki. Nagato was born into the Uzumaki clan, a bloodline known for immense chakra reserves and remarkable vitality. As a child, he unknowingly received a pair of Rinnegan eyes implanted by Madara Uchiha. Madara selected Nagato precisely because his Uzumaki lineage could handle the strain of wielding the Rinnegan. Over time, Nagato began using these eyes instinctively, unaware of their origin. Although his chakra allowed him to use the Rinnegan at a high level, the prolonged stress severely weakened his physical body. This contrast between spiritual power and bodily decay became the defining tension in his journey. Nagato developed his combat system through the 6 paths of pain. He used chakra receivers to transmit his will across 6 different bodies, each representing a specific Rinnegan technique. The Diva path could manipulate gravitational forces, unleashing attacks like Shinra Tensei to obliterate entire areas instantly. With Chibaku Tensei, he formed miniature moons that trapped enemies in orbiting rock prisons. The Preta path nullified chakra-based techniques by direct absorption. The human path extracted souls with a single touch. The animal path summoned enormous creatures to control the battlefield. The Naraka path summoned the king of hell to interrogate enemies or restore the bodies of allies. Beyond these, Nagato also mastered the outer path. With Gedo Rinne Tensei, he could resurrect the dead, an ability he used to bring the Hidden Leaf villagers back after his attack. His battlefield strategy relied on perfect vision synchronization between the bodies, making it nearly impossible to surprise him. Each corpse functioned as part of a collective system, transforming him into a one-man army operating at 6 angles simultaneously. As the true leader of the Akatsuki during its most active years, Nagato directed operations from the shadows. Under the alias Pain, he destroyed the Hidden Leaf village and confronted Naruto directly. Their battle became a pivotal moment in the series, pushing Naruto to evolve both in strength and ideology. However, Nagato's ideology had been shaped and manipulated by Madara's plan. What he believed to be justice was part of a larger deception. Despite his overwhelming power, Nagato's dependence on remote control made him vulnerable. His real body remained hidden and immobile, relying on mechanical assistance. When Naruto entered the Six-Tails state, he closed the distance and exposed Nagato's position. This moment marked the breakdown of the pain system. Nagato's Rinnegan symbolized both the burden of pain and the pursuit of peace through control. His vision of peace, though flawed, opened the path for Naruto's own ideals to rise. Top 7th. Urashiki Otsutsuki. Urashiki Otsutsuki was a lower-ranking member of the Celestial Otsutsuki clan, but his dojutsu set him apart. He wielded a rare version of the Rinnegan that changed color depending on its active ability. The red and blue transformations of his eye revealed a layered and flexible fighting style, far removed from the brute force approach of other Rinnegan users. This unique variation demonstrated how Otsutsuki members could adapt their Rinnegan to fit their personal battle strategies. The red Rinnegan gave Urashiki access to temporal manipulation. He could rewind time by several moments, resetting the battlefield to a more favorable state. This made him nearly impossible to trap, as he could escape failure by simply undoing it. During the time travel arc in Boruto, he used this to counter the actions of both young Naruto and Boruto, making tactical adjustments mid-fight. His blue Rinnegan granted short-term precognition, allowing him to perceive events a few seconds before they occurred. This was not intuition or body reading. It was literal foresight. With it, he could evade traps, interrupt counters, and execute precise strikes against unpredictable opponents. What made his fighting style especially dangerous was the modular nature of his eye. He shifted seamlessly between abilities, turning his Rinnegan into a rotating arsenal of techniques. This destabilized the standard rules of ninja combat, which typically relied on strategic preparation. Urashiki forced his opponents to improvise every second. In the storyline, Urashiki appeared during the Boruto time travel arc, where his presence created temporal anomalies and placed young versions of major characters in immediate danger. Although he posed a real threat and displayed considerable potential, he lacked the lasting impact of other Otsutsuki figures. His influence was limited to the arc and did not extend beyond it. Despite his versatile abilities, Urashiki was hindered by limited stamina and inconsistent judgment. His reliance on time reversal could not compensate for poor tactical awareness. When Boruto and his allies coordinated their attacks effectively, they exposed the gaps in his planning and overwhelmed him. Urashiki's color-shifting Rinnegan reflected adaptability but also signaled instability. His approach to combat was creative but unfocused, emphasizing potential over discipline. In the end, his powers revealed the limits of versatility without purpose. Top 6th. Momoshiki Otsutsuki. Momoshiki Otsutsuki introduced a new variant of the Rinnegan, one that broke conventional patterns. Instead of appearing in the eyes, his Rinnegan were embedded in the palms of his hands. These eyes remained purple in base state, but transformed into gold when he entered his enhanced form. This transformation occurred after absorbing Kinshiki, signaling the moment he reached his peak power. The golden Rinnegan marked not only a visual evolution, but also a massive jump in strength, speed, and combat effectiveness. His right-hand Rinnegan functioned as a chakra vacuum. It could absorb any ninjutsu technique, regardless of its scale or nature. Rasengan, elemental blasts, or chakra-based attacks were all rendered useless as soon as they were drawn into his palm. The left-hand Rinnegan reversed this process. It amplified and expelled the absorbed technique with greater power and wider area of effect. For example, a basic Rasengan could be returned as a massive high-velocity spiral capable of leveling terrain. Momoshiki could repeat this process without pause, turning his opponent's own jutsu into fuel for overwhelming counterattacks. Beyond this, he used absorbed chakra to generate chakra pills. These were ingested instantly, giving him immediate boosts in power and recovery. After consuming Kinshiki, Momoshiki evolved into a deity-like state. His golden Rinnegan remained active, and a third eye opened on his forehead. His movement, reaction speed, and destructive power increased drastically, allowing him to fight on equal footing with Naruto and Sasuke at their prime. However, His technique remained centered on absorption and redirection. He avoided hand seals and original jutsu, relying entirely on his stolen power. Momoshiki's role in the Boruto storyline was central to its future direction. His defeat did not end his influence. By embedding karma into Boruto, he established a method of spiritual survival, ensuring his will and abilities would resurface in another form. This act shifted the long-term stakes of the series. Despite his strength, Momoshiki lacked tactical depth. His strategy relied too much on absorption loops. When faced with unpredictable teamwork, especially from Boruto and Naruto, his pattern became exposed. The timing of his counters could be disrupted, and without original jutsu, his options were limited. The golden Rinnegan reflected hunger for strength and control. It symbolized unchecked consumption, which, when miscalculated, led to his defeat. Top 5. Obito Uchiha. Obito obtained the Rinnegan through transplantation, using one of Madara's original eyes. He combined this eye with his own Mangekyu Sharingan, which granted him access to Kamui, a space-time manipulation technique. This combination produced a unique duality of offense and evasion. While most Rinnegan users focused on raw destructive power or divine abilities, Obito merged stealth, control, and dimension-based tactics into one seamless system. Kamui allowed Obito to shift parts of his body, or his entire form, into another dimension, making him intangible to most attacks. This ability, paired with the Rinnegan's chakra receivers, allowed him to control tailed beasts by piercing them with black rods. He used these rods not just for suppression, but also for remote control and coordination across the battlefield. During the Fourth Great Ninja War, Obito's power reached its peak when he became the Jinchuriki of the Ten Tails. In this state, his Rinnegan enhanced his sensory perception, reaction time, and destructive reach. He used the Tree of Death to create widespread chakra-sapping fields, and through the Outer Path, he summoned the demonic statue of the Outer Path, and could even initiate resurrection. Obito's role in the storyline evolved continuously. He began as a masked manipulator working behind the Akatsuki, then revealed himself as the architect of the infinite Tsukuyomi plan. During the climax of the war, he changed sides, realizing the emptiness of his path. His final acts helped Naruto and Sasuke in their battle against Kaguya, concluding his arc through sacrifice. Obito's main limitation was the lack of a second Rinnegan. With only one eye, he couldn't fully access the Six Paths techniques at their maximum potential. Additionally, internal conflict impaired his focus. His motivations were fractured between personal loss, revenge, and manipulated ideology. These psychological weaknesses created openings that his enemies exploited. His Rinnegan represented a contradiction, an eye of godly power tied to a man torn by guilt and lost identity. In the end, it became a tool of redemption rather than domination, reflecting the slow shift from destruction to clarity. Top 4th. Sasuke Uchiha. Sasuke awakened his Rinnegan during the climax of the Fourth Great Ninja War. This unique eye appeared in his left socket after he received a portion of Hagoromo Otsutsuki's chakra. It took the form of a standard Rinnegan, but with 6 black tomo lining its rings, merging the powers of the Rinnegan and Mangekyu Sharingan. This fusion gave Sasuke access to techniques beyond any previous Uchiha. His signature ability, Amino Tejikara, allowed him to switch positions with objects, enemies, or allies within a certain range. This technique required no seals or contact. It could reposition him instantly, turning defense into attack and trapping opponents through misdirection. Sasuke also opened dimensional portals, which he used to track the Otsutsuki across their different realms. These portals granted him a rare mobility advantage during combat and infiltration missions. Despite his new powers, Sasuke retained the abilities of his Mangekyu Sharingan. He continued using Amaterasu, the inextinguishable black flames, and manifested a complete Susanoo. With the Rinnegan,
He added chakra absorption through the Prita path and gravitational control via the Diva path. These techniques provided both offensive and defensive versatility. During his battles with Momoshiki and Ishiki, Sasuke shifted between close combat and spatial manipulation with precision. His strategy relied on overwhelming his enemies through sudden changes in position and unpredictable attacks. In the narrative, Sasuke played a central role in ending the Fourth Great Ninja War. He helped seal Kaguya and later dedicated himself to protecting the world from new threats. His transformation from Avenger to Guardian symbolized his change in ideology and loyalty to the Leaf. However, the Tomoe Rinnegan came with limitations. It consumed large amounts of chakra, and excessive use caused the Tomoe to vanish temporarily. This reduced the eye's functionality and weakened Sasuke's tactical options. During extended fights, he was forced to manage energy carefully to prevent burnout. Sasuke's Rinnegan symbolized internal balance. It represented the reconciliation between the destructive power of the Uchiha and the wisdom inherited from the Sage of Six Paths. His eye was a visual marker of redemption and responsibility. Top 3. Madara Uchiha. Madara awakened the Rinnegan decades after implanting Hashirama's cells into his body. By merging the chakras of Indra and Asura, he recreated the conditions that once gave birth to Hagoromo's power. The result was a naturally evolved Rinnegan, developed through years of planning and manipulation. Madara's Rinnegan granted him access to Limbo, Hengoku, a technique that summoned invisible shadow clones in a parallel dimension. These clones could attack opponents while remaining undetectable to anyone without Six Paths level abilities. Only Naruto and Sasuke, who had received power from Hagoromo, could sense and counter them. Madara also used Chibaku Tensei at a massive scale, calling down multiple meteors that overwhelmed entire battlefields. After becoming the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, he gained the ability to cast the infinite Tsukuyomi, trapping the world in an eternal illusion. The Rinnegan enhanced his connection to the outer path, letting him summon the demonic statue and control tailed beasts through chakra rods. His manipulation extended far beyond direct combat. Madara orchestrated events from the shadows, setting up Nagano and Obito as pawns in his larger Moon's Eye plan. His influence shaped much of the world's chaos leading up to the war's climax. Madara was ultimately betrayed by Black Zetsu, who hijacked his body to revive Kaguya. Although he reached a near-omnipotent state, his downfall came from a failure to recognize deeper manipulation. He also lacked mastery over space-time abilities, which limited his ability to respond to teleportation-based tactics used by Sasuke and others. The Rinnegan in Madara's hands reflected the peak of shinobi evolution driven by ambition. It turned him into a symbol of overwhelming force, but also revealed how unchecked power without purpose could spiral into self-destruction. His rise and fall became the critical turning point that reshaped the shinobi world.
Top 2. Hagoromo Otsutsuki. Hagoromo Otsutsuki was born with the Rinnegan, inherited directly from the divine chakra of his mother, Kaguya. This made him the first natural wielder of the Rinnegan, and the first known person to fully understand and utilize its capabilities. Unlike others who awakened the eye through artificial methods, Hagoromo's Rinnegan manifested as part of his lineage, combining spiritual power and natural potential. It became the foundation of all ninja techniques in the world that followed. With his Rinnegan, Hagoromo mastered every path technique. The Diva path gave him control over gravity, allowing him to push or pull with precise force. The Preta path absorbed chakra from any attack, neutralizing ninjutsu instantly. The Naraka path summoned the King of Hell, capable of interrogation and healing. His use of the outer path let him summon souls, restore the injured, and maintain balance between life and death. He wielded Gudodama, truth-seeking orbs composed of all chakra natures, which erased anything they touched. Hagoromo also sealed the 10 tails within himself, becoming its first Jinchuriki. Through this act, He stopped the spread of destruction caused by the beast and brought stability to the world. More importantly, he created ninshu, a precursor to ninjutsu, intended to foster understanding rather than warfare. In the narrative, Hagoromo served as a mythical origin. He founded the shinobi system and passed on his knowledge to humanity. When Kaguya returned, threatening the balance once again, he chose Naruto and Sasuke as the inheritors of his power. By granting them parts of his chakra, he enabled the final sealing of their common ancestor. Despite his wisdom and power, Hagoromo did not defeat Kaguya alone. He required the support of his brother, Hamura, to seal her away. This collaboration revealed the limits of his power in comparison to his mother's raw chakra. Even as a sage, Hagoromo acknowledged the importance of unity and shared purpose. Hagoromo's Rinnegan symbolized enlightenment and harmony. It bridged yin and yang, spirit and flesh, strength and compassion. As both a protector and a teacher, he laid the groundwork for a world that continues to follow his ideals long after his death.
Top 1. Kaguya Otsutsuki. Kaguya Otsutsuki was the first being to wield chakra on Earth. After consuming the chakra fruit from the divine tree, she awakened a third eye on her forehead, known as the Rinnegan. This dojutsu combined visual and spiritual dominance. It glowed crimson with 9 tomo, representing its status as the origin of both the Sharingan and the Rinnegan. Kaguya's power exceeded all who came after her, but she lacked the structure and restraint of later generations. With the Rinne Sharingan, Kaguya cast the infinite Tsukuyomi. This technique reflected her eyes light off the moon, trapping the entire world in an illusion. The jutsu bypassed normal resistance and consumed the chakra of all life, feeding the divine tree and reshaping reality. Only those protected by Six Paths chakra, or Susanoo, could avoid capture. Beyond genjutsu, Kaguya used dimensional shifting. She moved freely between multiple realms: fire, ice, gravity voids, and acidic swamps. These spaces served as weapons and traps, giving her absolute control over terrain. Her chakra reserves allowed her to manipulate space, matter, and perception without hand signs or jutsu structure. She bypassed standard combat systems, relying on instinctual control and brute force. Fighting Kaguya meant surviving both her raw power and her ever-changing environment. In the storyline, Kaguya appeared as the final antagonist of the Naruto series. She emerged from within Madara's body after centuries of preparation through the Moon's Eye plan. Her presence reframed the conflict from a human war to a cosmic struggle. Naruto and Sasuke, empowered by Hagoromo, worked together to seal her, ending her reign. Despite her divine origin, Kaguya lacked combat experience. Her reactions were slow against coordinated attacks. She underestimated the adaptability of human strategy, which allowed her opponents to corner and seal her once again. The Rinne Sharingan represented total control without understanding. It symbolized unchecked ambition and solitary rule. Kaguya's rise shaped the shinobi world, but her fall revealed the dangers of power disconnected from wisdom. Her legacy was not just in bloodline, but in the warning it left behind.
15. Formation Ino Shikacho. One traditional one here. Formation Ino Shikacho isn't winning any destructive power contests, but it is one of the smartest combination jutsu in the entire Naruto-verse. This trio technique is the perfect example of how teamwork can let you punch way above your weight class. When you've got Shikamaru's shadow possession, freezing enemies in place, Ino's mind transfer, taking control of their consciousness, and Choji rolling in like a wrecking ball with his human bullet tank, you've got a tactical masterpiece that can take down opponents who would absolutely wreck these three individually. What makes this formation truly special isn't raw power. It's the perfect synchronization, developed over generations of clan cooperation. These three families have been perfecting this shit since their ancestors' time. The timing has to be absolutely flawless. One slip up, and Ino's consciousness is floating around with nowhere to land. The formation's biggest weakness? It's completely useless against multiple high-level opponents or anyone fast enough to dodge Shikamaru's shadow. But for sheer tactical brilliance and showcasing what perfect teamwork looks like, few combination jutsu can touch the classic formation Ino Shikacho. In short, smart tactics, but lacking in destructive power. 14. Self-repairing barrier. This technique creates what might be the most frustrating shield any enemy could face. The damn thing literally fixes itself when damaged. Imagine throwing your strongest attack at a barrier only to watch it patch up like nothing happened. What makes this barrier exceptional isn't just its regenerative properties, it's the scale. We're talking protection for an entire area or battlefield, not just a few individuals. During the Fourth Great Ninja War, this technique was crucial in the attempt to hide and protect Killer Bee and Naruto from Madara and Obito, and the barrier covered the entire Turtle Island, a full-blown elevated ecosystem. It was trusted to shield the two most valuable assets in the entire allied shinobi forces. The technique requires multiple skilled ninja linking their chakra networks with perfect synchronization. One slip-up and the whole barrier might collapse. The chakra cost was astronomical. These ninja are essentially pouring their life force into maintaining an impenetrable wall. But even with 36 barriers stacked, it still couldn't completely contain the combined force of two Jinchuriki going all out. And unlike Formation Ino Shikacho, it offers zero offensive capabilities. It's purely defensive. Still, when you need to protect something at all costs, and especially across a wide area, there are few jutsu that can match the self-repairing barrier's effectiveness. That's why it edges out Ino Shikacho in our rankings, a purely defensive jutsu designed for wide area protection, with no offensive capabilities. 13. Magnet Release, Spiral Jet Black. The mechanics behind this jutsu are insane. Naruto's spiraling chakra gets amplified by the magnetic properties from Shinki, creating a Rasengan variant that literally immobilizes the target with magnetic sealing properties. Picture your opponent getting simultaneously crushed and paralyzed. Naruto charges in with this Rasengan variant, slamming into the enemy head-on, while Sasuke comes in from the opposite side with an enhanced Chidori, trapping the target between them and obliterating them. Sounds badass, right? This jutsu packs Senjutsu, Magnet Release, Chidori, Amaterasu, all wrapped into an attack used by the two strongest genin the world has ever seen. Yeah, Spiral Jet Black is ending fights in seconds. One clean hit and you're done. However, it's got limited range and zero defensive capabilities. It's a pure attack technique, making it situational compared to more versatile jutsu. And let's be honest, the synchronization required between users isn't nearly as complex as what Formation Ino Shikacho demands. And sure, it's insanely powerful, but the move only showed up once. And it didn't even damage Madara, which, to be fair, is understandable. Still, when you need to take down a powerful opponent fast, this is the move you want to use. It's absolutely badass. And hey, history doesn't have many Madaras. 12. Earth-style wall of 10,000 Ri. When you need to keep a freaking tailed beast from steamrolling your entire army, this is your go-to jutsu. The Earth-style wall of 10,000 Ri isn't flashy like our lightning water dragon friend, but it's easily one of the most clutch defensive techniques we've ever seen in the Naruto universe. Picture this. The Fourth Great Ninja War is raging, and the Raikage, with his immortal body, is charging in. Let me remind you, this is the guy who once went 1v 10,000 and kept it up for 3 straight days and nights. What do you even do to stop a man like that from just plowing through and slapping everyone into the dirt? A bunch of Earth-style users band together to create a wall so massive it can shield the entire battlefield. Very impressive. Now, to be fair, the wall didn't actually stop him, but the point is, it's pure utility. Sure, electrocuting your enemies is cool and all, but shielding your entire army from certain death? That's another level entirely. The coordination required here isn't just two kage syncing up. It's dozens of shinobi perfectly aligning their chakra to build something way beyond what any one ninja could pull off alone. Well, it's purely defensive. You won't be knocking anyone out with this bad boy. But in war, sometimes not dying is the best strategy you can have. In a world where most ninja are busy one-upping each other with increasingly destructive attacks, there's something refreshing about a jutsu designed solely to protect. This technique might not win battles on its own, but it sure as hell makes sure you live long enough to fight another day.
11. Four Violet Flames Formation. The Four Violet Flames formation is what happens when four ninjas decide they need to isolate a battlefield or trap an enemy in the most visually spectacular way possible. Remember when the Sound 4 used this to trap the Third Hokage, while Orochimaru got to play out his revenge fantasy? That's this jutsu's claim to fame. What makes this technique climb above our Earth-style wall is versatility. I mean, its ability to encircle and contain. Sure, a giant dirt barrier is cool, very cool, but this purple prison serves double duty. It keeps threats contained and keeps interfering knuckleheads out. Anyone stupid enough to touch those violet flames gets barbecued. When the Sound 4 deployed this against Hiruzen, they essentially created a private arena for Orochimaru's grudge match. Think about it. No AMBU interference, no backup, just an old man and his former student with daddy issues. Yeah, you need four people constantly maintaining the jutsu, which makes them sitting ducks if someone decides to target them. The Sound 4 countered this weakness with personal barriers, but at its core, this technique comes with built-in hostages. Plus, unlike our Earthwall friends, the area you can cover is limited by how far apart your four users can stand. What really sells this jutsu is its intimidation factor. There's something psychologically devastating about being trapped in a box of purple death fire, while your opponent explains their tragic backstory and why they're about to kill you. For creating the perfect villainous moment alone, this jutsu deserves its spot in our rankings.
10. Lightning Water. Dragon Bullet. Alright, this one combines two of nature's most lethal elements in one devastating package. When the Mizukage Mei Terumi spits out her water dragon and the Raikage charges it with lightning, man, you're not just getting wet, you're getting fried. Brutal effectiveness. Water conducts electricity. Basic science, right? But in the ninja world, this means your enemies are about to have a really, really bad day. The water dragon hits you, soaking you to the bone, and then lightning courses through every cell in your body, turning your nervous system into a short-circuited mess. You're paralyzed, twitching, and basically gift-wrapped for whatever follow-up attack is coming your way. What sets this technique apart from our previous entry is its direct combat application. While Toad Confrontation Chant gives you that sweet genjutsu lockdown, Lightning Water Dragon Bullet is all about that immediate physical damage and tactical advantage. No waiting around for your opponent to break free from an illusion. This jutsu is hitting them with the 1-2 punch of elemental fury. You don't need Senjutsu, a Rasengan, or Amaterasu to pull off a powerful jutsu. You just need one person who can use water style and another who can use lightning style. But the drawback? That dragon takes 44 hand seals to summon, kinda time consuming. Plus, unlike some of the higher ranked combination jutsu we'll be talking about later, it doesn't have the raw destructive scale to take out multiple high-level opponents at once. Still, any jutsu that requires the coordination of two Kage-level ninja and can effectively neutralize almost any single target deserves respect. 9. Demonic Illusion. Toad Confrontation Chant. This sound-based illusion performed by the two great sage toads, Fukasaku and Shima, is the most disrespectful combination jutsu you never saw coming. Imagine being a god-tier villain like Pain and getting bodied by two elderly frogs singing at you. What makes this jutsu so legendary? is its sheer effectiveness against multiple high-level opponents simultaneously. During Jiraiya's fight with Pain, this technique paralyzed 3 paths of pain at once. The victims' minds get sealed within a watery barrier guarded by Toad Samurai, rendering them completely helpless while still fully conscious. Talk about psychological warfare. The preparation is this jutsu's only real weakness. Fukasaku and Shima need time to harmonize perfectly, making them vulnerable during setup. But once they start belting out those ancient Toad melodies, game over. Since it's a sound-based genjutsu, as long as you're not deaf, you're getting caught. While it lacks the raw destructive power of magnet release, Spiral Jet Black, its strategic value and range of effect are on another level entirely. This isn't just immobilizing your enemy, it's completely removing multiple threats from the battlefield in one move. 8. Katsuyu, immense network healing. Look, when we talk about combination jutsus that shaped entire wars, this one deserves its flowers. Katsuyu, immense network. Healing might not have the flash of your typical devastating attack, but this technique is absurdly broken in the right hands. Picture this. Tsunade or Sakura channels their already ridiculous healing chakra through countless Katsuyu divisions spread across an entire battlefield. That's thousands of soldiers getting simultaneous healing from a distance. During the Fourth Great Ninja War, this jutsu was literally the backbone keeping the allied shinobi forces alive. Without it, Madara wins, everyone dies, roll credits. What makes this jutsu particularly insane is the scale to difficulty ratio. The healing network can cover miles of battlefield with perfect precision, yet requires just 2 participants with tight synchronization. Sure, the chakra requirements are astronomical, but that's what the strength of 100 seal is for. The technique even doubles as a battlefield communication system, with Katsuyu relaying intelligence while patching up the wounded. I'm ranking this higher than flashier combinations, like Scorch Release, Halo Hurricane Jet Black Arrow Style Zero, because strategic value matters. So many ones can blow stuff up, but preserving your entire army while under fire from a literal god? That's the difference between winning and losing wars. 7. Flying Thunder. God mutually instantaneous revolving technique. Look, we need to show some respect to what might be the most tactically brilliant combination jutsu ever created. That's what happens when 2 Flying Thunder God users mark each other and start playing musical chairs with their positions at lightning speed. When Minato and Tobirama tag-teamed with this technique against Obito, it was absolutely cinematic. This is what it looks like when 2 geniuses sync up. What makes this jutsu absolutely ridiculous is the mind games it enables. Imagine throwing yourself directly into an enemy's attack, something that would be suicide for anyone else, only to switch places with your partner at the last millisecond and turn your opponent's power against them. The synchronization and timing required are insane. While it doesn't have the raw destructive power of something like a tailed beast bomb, it doesn't need to. The tactical advantage it provides is unmatched. Why destroy a mountain when you can precisely eliminate the threat? In terms of flexibility, it absolutely embarrasses defensive formations like the 4 Violet Flames formation, which, let's be honest, compared to this jutsu, is just a fancy purple box. The technique requires such elite-level skill that only 2 of the greatest shinobi in history, both Hokage, could pull it off effectively. 6. Parent and Child. Rasengan. I'm talking about that moment when Minato and Naruto, both in tailed beast mode, synchronized their chakra and created a Rasengan the size of a damn mountain. When 2 shinobi, who also happen to share DNA, sync up their signature technique while both in tailed beast mode, that's the kind of moment fans wait the entire series to witness. This jutsu represents the literal passing of the torch between generations, compressed into one devastating spiral sphere. When infused with Sage Chakra, it was powerful enough to damage Ten-Tail's Obito, even though, in reality, Obito managed to counter the attack. 5. Yasaka Magatama, Tailed Beast. Noka. Sounds wild, right? This is one of the most insane combo techniques in the entire series. It's a fusion of Itachi's Susanoo Yasaka Magatama, Wind Release, Rasen Shuriken, and Killer Bee's Tailed Beast Bomb. Yeah, basically the top 3 power moves from these 3 guys. That's what I call a proper delete button for the battlefield. Sure, this jutsu is insanely strong, but it wasn't really used on the main battlefield. However, the destructive power here is absolutely ridiculous. It can even destroy Nagato's Chibaku Tensei, the very technique he once planned to trap Naruto in his tailed beast form. It's insanely powerful. What makes this jutsu particularly impressive is the skill ceiling required. You need someone with Mangekyu Sharingan Mastery, another with perfect Biju control, and one more with S-rank ninjutsu capable of tearing apart targets with swirling power. Literally, one of the rarest combinations of abilities in the ninja world. This really is a technique that can delete the battlefield in seconds. 4. Cooperation. Tailed Beast Ball. When multiple tailed beasts decide to pool their chakra together, you're witnessing apocalypse-level destruction. The Cooperation Tailed Beast Ball stands as perhaps the single most devastating combined jutsu and raw destructive power ever displayed in Naruto. When this technique debuted during the 4th Great Ninja War, it literally changed the battlefield landscape. We're talking about mountain ranges being obliterated in seconds. Man, it's not much different from a dinosaur war. The sheer scale makes individual jutsu like Rasengan look like a water balloon fight at a kid's birthday party. The downside? It's situational as hell. You need multiple tailed beasts in one place. Already an extinction-level threat. Perfect synchronization, nearly impossible. It's the nuclear option of the Naruto world. Is it the most tactical combination jutsu? No. Is it the most visually spectacular holy shit moment? Yeah, but honestly, this technique only shows up once in the entire story. 3. Scorch Release. Halo, Hurricane Jet Black Arrow Style 0. This is what happens when the 2 most powerful rivals in shinobi history actually get their shit together and work as a team. Scorch Release. Halo Hurricane, Jet Black Arrow Style 0. Seriously, Minato named it. Represents the perfect synthesis of Naruto and Sasuke's signature abilities. And it's absolutely devastating. This technique combines Naruto's Wind Nature Rasen Shuriken with Sasuke's Amaterasu Flames, controlled through Kagutsuchi, creating what's essentially the ninja equivalent of a tactical nuke. What makes this jutsu so special is how it addresses the natural weakness of each component. Rasen Shuriken gets amplified by the unholy black flames that can't be extinguished, while Amaterasu gains the perfect delivery system through Naruto's spinning chakra disc. When this bad boy hits something, it's getting erased from existence while simultaneously being set on fire with flames that burn until there's nothing left to consume. Why doesn't it rank higher? It's limited to a single target, making it more of a boss killer than a battlefield clearer. Still, this technique perfectly symbolizes how far Naruto and Sasuke have come from trying to murder each other as teens to combining their most lethal abilities as adults. And of course, its power is absolutely monstrous. 2. 4 Red Yang Formation. When the literal 4 Hokage decide to team up and create a barrier, you know you're witnessing something legendary. 4 Red Yang Formation is what happens when ninja defense reaches its absolute peak. Imagine a crimson barrier so powerful it can contain the Ten Tails. Yes, the Ten Tails, the monstrosity that was casually nuking mountains with tailed beast bombs. What makes this jutsu absolutely insane is the chakra control required. These aren't just any random ninjas forming a square. We're talking about Hashirama, Tobirama, Hiruzen, and Minato synchronizing their massive chakra reserves with perfect precision. When the Ten Tails launched a tailed beast ball at this barrier, the thing just flexed like rubber and redirected that mountain buster skyward without even cracking. The strategic value here is off the charts. 4 Red Yang Formation literally changed the course of the entire war by containing the biggest threat on the battlefield. Let's be real. This jutsu is so chakra intensive that even KJ level ninjas are limited in what else they can do while maintaining it. That speaks volumes about its power level. And it's several times stronger than the 4 Violet Flames formation, which was already considered elite tier defense. Yeah, way stronger. I'm ranking this higher than offensive combinations because in Naruto's world, the ultimate flex isn't how much you can destroy. It's being able to say no to a literal god's destructive power. My friends, that is the power of the legendary Hokage who came before. 6 paths. Chibaku Tensei. At the absolute pinnacle of combination jutsu, we find the technique that literally saved reality as we know it. 6 paths. Chibaku Tensei. It's the nuclear option when gods themselves need to be put in check. This jutsu is so ridiculously broken that it can only be performed by users who have obtained the power of the 6-path sage, which is basically Naruto's way of saying, congrats, you've reached the endgame power ceiling. Let's be clear about what this technique actually does. Naruto and Sasuke simultaneously place their yin and yang marks on the target, turning them into a center of gravitational attraction so powerful it creates an entire freaking moon around them. Not a barrier, not a prison, a celestial body. This is the jutsu that sealed away Kaguya Otsutsuki, literal mother of chakra and the most dangerous entity in the entire series. What puts this jutsu leagues above 4 Red Yang formation is its permanence. While the 4 Hokage's barrier was impressive for containing the 10 tails temporarily, 6 paths, Chibaku Tensei permanently removed the greatest threat the ninja world had ever known. The jutsu even sealed away Kaguya's Rinnegan Sharingan, completely neutralizing her godlike powers. The historical significance can't be overstated. Hagoromo and Hamura used this same technique to create the actual moon by sealing the 10 tails. This jutsu isn't just top tier, it's the only technique in the entire series that's powerful enough to create astronomical bodies. Nothing else in our ranking even comes close to this level of cosmic significance. Alright, that's it for today. Thanks for watching,